Hi, Ben.
Hi, Jordan. Welcome back to another episode of Endurance, an Endurance Rewatch podcast.
Ben, what are your favorite podcasts?
So I'm pretty partial to the Real Housewives. I love the Bravo universe. That's kind of my main thing. So like Bitch Sesh, Watch What Crappens, like these are some of the things, but also like pop culture generally. Who Weekly. I love the folks at Who Weekly. Crunch Crunch.
For pop culture, I like at Betches.
Yeah.
It's the official Betches podcast. Correct. Where I get all my pop culture news. I also am a patron of Challenge Mania.
Yeah.
Which has connections to Endurance, like we discussed. And I listen to all of the RHAP. Rob has a podcast for The Challenge, Big Brother, Survivor. Not like as intensely as some others do, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you're keeping it in the family. Which kind of brings us back to why we're here. I mean, in our last episode, we talked about the first two episodes of Endurance.
And now we're going to talk about the next two.
Yeah.
And in this episode, in these episodes, the dominant element rises.
It obviously does. And that is alluding to sort of how this is all going to play out.
Yeah.
So if you recall from our first two episodes, I mean, it's a slow burn. We're just getting to know this show, but they dive right in.
These episodes are short.
Yeah.
Like, if you're considering rewatching, just rewatch it. Like,
yeah, it's
these
not going to take you much
episodes
time.
are over before you know it. And, I mean, I'll say something.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. The challenges are good.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Big Brother. I watched Survivor. I watched The Challenge. I skipped the challenges. I skipped the dailies in The Challenge. I watched, like, eliminations on double speed. I skip all Big Brother challenges.
Yeah.
Especially if I know the result. And I skip 90% of Survivor challenges, and I definitely skip all individual immunity challenges.
Well, we talked about
Ask me why.
Why?
They are one note.
Yes.
Survivor challenges are one note. I watched the first two tribe challenges because I just want to know who's who. And
we know it's going to be an obstacle course.
And there are some really, really epic challenges.
Yeah.
Endurance challenges are another level.
Well, it's also interesting you mentioned that because one of the challenges that we see in episode 3 kind of is a precursor to a challenge in future years.
You're talking about episode 4, not so fast.
Sorry, that's it.
Close enough. But let's talk about episode 3 first.
Yeah.
We're on episode 3 is called Tilt. Is the name of the episode and the challenge. It is the first endurance mission. What's an endurance mission?
So these are ones where they're going to get some type of an advantage that can cause a team to have a disadvantage.
And they also get a piece or two. In this one, they get 2. In Endurance 1, they like distribute all the pieces very quickly.
And they're somewhat themed to the challenge. I mean, they do kind of allude to it. It's a little bit more thought out kind of in future seasons. Yeah. But at least at this point, we're just collecting these pieces.
And something that you'll see is that the episodes are very sequential. Their setup is always the same. So that's what I'm going to say. Endurance missions are like camp life, then the challenge, then gameplay, then decision. Temple mission episodes, you go right into the challenge, then it's camp life, gameplay, then the elimination. So in this one, we start with some camp life scenes. I did not realize that Sabrina had Aaron around her finger this early in the game.
Oh, we're just like a day or two into this entire endeavor.
Realistically, we're on day 3.
Okay. We're on day 3.
We're on morning 2.
But they jump right into, I mean, we're making alliances out the gate. They are discussing who's on which teams, what the relationships are. I mean, power dynamics are playing out like within the early parts of this game.
So for the boys, what are you doing? Okay. For the boys, blue, Aaron, green, Trevor, purple, Brandon, and orange, Skylar are together.
Yes.
And then
the Brotherhood.
And that leaves gray, red, and yellow, arguably the strongest guys on the outs.
Mm-hmm.
What about for the girls?
For the girls, it's very interesting. Obviously, red and yellow, Sabrina and Ashley are a dynamic duo.
They tie their poles together. There's
like ribbons sitting at the top of these, and they are connected. And they like shake hands as they leave the poles as they pan out to this
like a secret handshake.
But also, when you look at the girls, there's a lot less of these type of like larger alliances. You've got a few people who are kind of
red and yellow are super tight. Lana and Jenna are adjacent to red and yellow.
Yeah.
Janae, what's that? Purple and orange, Chelsea and Layla are also like this. like they are inseparable. And then Janae seems to be just like a floater throughout all the groups, which will get her in trouble next episode. As we'll see.
But what we're seeing so far is that like these alliances that are being made between the boys and the girls are not like connected specifically to the team. Without other than red and yellow, they're not really connected to the specific
Red and yellow are like literally in their own world, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have the same hair. They're wearing their bandanas the same way.
And they know it.
And they know it.
Okay, can we get back to Aaron and Sabrina? Because a common thread of this season that we'll get into in a lot of detail is the impact of Sabrina and how she was able to, for lack of a better word, manipulate this boy for the entire time. Literally until the final day. No spoilers. Sabrina is like really just running him in circles, and it is crazy to watch.
And she knows it. It's not as though this is just like happenstance. Like she's aware and she has a strategy and she's executing it.
And production knows as well.
Production knows and know. I mean, obviously they're highlighting this throughout.
Do you have anything else to say about camp life?
No, I mean, I just like we're getting to see their day-to-days. They are playing football, which is like a requirement. Okay. They all have to throw the
And this is what I'll say. As someone... Oh, my mic just turned off. No, it didn't. Oops, shit. No, it is. Okay, we're good now. As someone who hates organized sports, you have to play football. Like, you're on a show.
Yeah.
It's only 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever.
Well, there's nothing else for them to do. This seems to be the one thing they have.
I'm sorry, like, I am not good at sports. I would still just play and hold my own and be, like, self-deprecating in a funny, cool way. Like, ideally, no one really cares about who wins and loses. You're playing with, like, both genders. Like, just play football. It's not that hard. Another thing that we get is some development for Chelsea. Chelsea has a big crush on Max.
Yes.
She also has a bright, large orange sweater that I really like.
I mean, I will say the fashion of this, that is something we were commenting on as we were watching it.
So 2002.
I mean...
The hats, the sunglasses.
There's nonstop puka shell necklaces. Like, everyone's got a puka shell necklace.
Giving 2002.
There's so many layers, like a cardigan on top of a t-shirt on top of a sweater. Like...
A lot of spaghetti straps.
Long capri pants.
So many capri pants.
I mean, it's really giving the era.
And the sunglasses are very 2002, but also kind of Brad.
Delia's catalog
Brad took those sunglasses and brought them into the 2024s.
Sure. But that's okay. So that's camp life. Like, we're getting the dynamics. We're starting to figure out who these teams are. Yes. But we're now going to get to our first
mission. Let's talk about this rig. Like the steel rig.
We're back out into the water for another one of these things. This is called Tilt.
We're in the Pacific Ocean. AKA, there's waves, and it's cold, and it's windy.
And you look at it, they pan out on this thing, and it's covered in seaweed, which
means it must have been sitting there getting
naturally
pounded by waves.
Yeah.
What an incredible setup. And we'll get into the specifics, but were those girls tied into anything?
Nothing.
They were literally just standing on the ledge before they tilted, getting their shoulders ripped out of their sockets.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the challenge. I'll explain how this goes. So JD basically says, we're going to be doing an endurance mission. And this endurance mission, he has to give us a little bit of history.
Of what a Samadhi is.
Yeah. So, again, we know that we're going to get a couple of pieces, but we're also going to get a lesson. This Samadhi, which is this vase, it's a clay pot that he's holding. He said the winner of this is going to have the Samadhi. It is a power that he is able to, that the team is...
Did you see that on the screen?
Yeah, why are we giving thumbs down?
That's crazy.
Does it hate us?
Anyway, our computer just gave us a thumbs down.
Anyway, we're going to keep going. Fuck you, computer. We're going to get this power. The team that has the Samadhi is able to give it to another team.
What does Samadhi mean?
Samadhi is, JD says it's a Buddhist term.
For contemplation.
I
Googled it. It's like so much more than that. It's like reaching a level of meditation and thought that like is only dreamt of.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense doesn't really make sense for this, but okay.
Right, because now we're giving it to a team and it's supposed to hurt their chances.
This is like an issue Survivor has as well, of the like crossing of cultures.
Sure.
Like it's like mission drift, but for like when you're trying to culturally appropriate in a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing where it's 2002.
It's Buddhist, it's California, it's
like where are
tribal,
we?
It's same with Survivor. Like Survivor's like tribal, but also like islandy, but also like jump, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's trying to make it exotic, and like terms that people aren't aware of and cultures are not sure of.
Yes.
And they just throw it all together.
Yes.
But so now we're set up for this mission. They're going to get the Samadhi. Whoever wins it, it has to gift it to a team.
Yes.
It's going to give them a disadvantage.
So the mission is
tilt. It's another situation where we're doing an endurance. Remember the first rigging over the water situation they had to hang, and this was whoever could last longest. We're doing another one of these endurance type things. The boys are tethered to this apparatus. They're holding their partner's hands and wrists, and then the apparatus is going to tilt over the water, and the girls are just going to hang there, and whoever lasts longest is the winner.
It's crazy. First of all,
no safety equipment.
One of my favorite challenges in endurance history, and one that I've always wanted to do. For like 16 different reasons. It's
not a little drop either. It's a big drop.
Sabrina says that she isn't afraid of heights until she got there. She's like, oh, this is tall. The lesson of the day is actually about Sir Edmund Hillary.
Correct.
I love Mount Everest. It's one of my other hobbies. I highly recommend Into Thin Air, a book and movie by John Krakauer that kind of makes you feel Everest. One of the major hurdles when you're reaching the summit is called the Hillary Step. It's like a very steep portion of Everest that is like what you do before you are summiting, named after Sir Edmund Hillary. The basis of the mission is that he needed help from Sherpas to reach the summit, and you're going to help your partner to stay stable.
Sure. Shout out to Sherpa.
I think it's a pretty quick challenge. They don't give us a time. I would imagine less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. They're struggling out the gate. We have teams dropping automatically, and JD's commenting from the shoreline. Obviously, nobody can hear him, but he's saying, "Oh, that person almost dropped. This person almost dropped." Teams are just falling in a very quick manner. We are left with the one and sole team, which is the blue team.
Well, okay. Not to mention that the final 3 are blue, yellow, red.
It's important to add because
they are the strongest teams. Well, okay. Red is like fake strong. Like red comes across as strong because Christian like gives that energy.
You mean Christian, the number 4
exactly. And Sabrina gives that energy. Will they actually deliver on it? TBD. But you can clearly tell that orange, purple, and green are just not in the same league as blue, yellow, and red. And we get a confessional from Janae after she wins. That is, she's explaining that when she felt her left arm slipping, she told Aaron left arm, and then Aaron like loosened up on her right so she could pull up with her left. I mean,
some actual strategies, some communication among team members. Like she knew what she was doing.
Hello. Someone has a career ahead of her.
Yeah, and we're going to see it. So
20 plus years later.
So red and yellow drop, blue wins. Janae and her teammate Aaron now have the Samadhi. They have a decision to make. They are back at the beach, and JD says you're going to have the afternoon to talk through this and figure out.
Not easy because Aaron's connected to 3 teams.
Yep.
Johnny is connected to
kind of everybody in
literally 6 teams.
And so they have to make a decision, and they don't know what this disadvantage is going to be.
On top of all this, everyone knows that Lana doesn't want to be with Trevor, and everyone knows that Trevor is Trevor.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is your mom's calling you.
It's fine. I'll talk to her later. Bye, Mom. Sorry.
What I mean by that is if you're looking for a scapegoat, if you're looking for the team who's causing the most conflict, if you're looking for the team who's having the most issues, I mean, if we're going to circle ahead, this is the same case with Willa and Antonio. Yeah. This is like a similar case to Kyle and Lauren. And what was it not Lauren? Kyle and Brianna. Kyle and Brianna in season 6. Like, it's a very easy way in the beginning, if you are a little bit too connected, to just find that scapegoat and say, like, yeah, they're like not having the best time. Like, let's just speed this along.
Well, another part of this is that she comments when they get back to the beach that she's bigger than her teammate. And that's a constant sort of in their journey on this process because there are a lot of these missions where like...
That'll be relevant to every season. Yeah. Personally, I don't love that about the nature of the game, that like having a tiny girl and if you're a big guy, like
there's an advantage there.
There's a lot of weight-based challenge. I love what you're talking about Monroe.
And a true
iconic.
So now we're back on the beach. We're debating like how this is going to go down. JD says, "I'm going to meet you at the beach, and then we're going to do the Samadhi ceremony."
The Rock.
The Rock.
And
sorry.
he calls The Rock like a download of the day, which I love. I love that term.
Yeah, and he's really good at this. I mean, this is another situation where he is like interacting with these kids and really getting a lot of information out of them. So, I mean, he's talking about sort of what's taking place at the beach.
They are very honest with him.
Mm-hmm.
This is like imagine
if
you're at tribal with Jeff and you're being too honest.
Yeah,
and you're just like really not mincing your words. And I think it's because they were 14. I think this was the first season. I think it's because they weren't taking the game so like to heart as they will in future seasons. But that's what they get, which is not bad.
Yeah. So he's asking them, you've had the afternoon to talk through this thing. Who are you going to give the Samadhi to?
John Ace like fluctuates between confidence because they're being so dominant and indecisiveness this entire episode.
And she says, and her response to JD is, well, it came down to, and you're kind of expecting that she's going to like name a couple of teams.
I thought about this too. I can't believe you thought about this as well.
But she just says, it came down to the orange team. And it's like, oh, okay.
And then JD asks why.
And her response was just like, oh, it just like...
Just cause.
Just cause.
Okay, we can't find our notes. Her response is like, we just decided orange. Yeah. Like, to give
no
nothing.
Explanation. And I love that. Because it's like the best strategy we've seen. And she recognizes that like, we don't know what's going to happen with this.
I would say this probably because she's the least close with Chelsea of all the girls.
And they had said that her partner, Skylar, is like not talking to anybody.
Mysterious. And even though he's with Aaron.
Right.
And also, on top of all this, like, she's probably we know she's friendly with Layla. We know she's friendly with the other girls. So yeah, okay, by default, like, Chelsea's the last one left.
Yeah.
Can we skip to the next episode quick? Because...
Yeah, so they have the Samadhi.
It's really... These episodes are supposed to be watched, like...
together. Yeah. It's a binge. I can't believe that we did this as like a week in
Oh my god, I used to like wait for the 22 minutes.
It must have been 5 minutes of recap.
My peak of live interest was season 5. Like that's when I was so invested in the actual live episodes and like plan my like 5th grade life around it. And I like remember like getting so hyped up for episodes. And 5 was full of twists and crazy stuff. And like there'd be non-elimination episodes. There was like the partner swap episode. I remember showing up to school the next day, like screaming at the top of my lungs about it. But it was 22 minutes of TV, and I waited for these 22 minutes.
Yeah, and there's no social media to be discussing with something.
Okay, I also put in my notes, and we can talk about this later when we have more time. But Ben and I also love bumpers in television, which are the things that come before and after a show. Not commercials, but like network branded.
We need to identify what...
I mean, the best example of bumper is the Disney Channel. Dun, 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 dun. So, at DK was a rebrand of Discovery Kids. It was Discovery Kids and became at DK. Once we became at DK, which is like the cool version of it, there were so many at DK original things. Like, remember the Chomp Chat? No. Okay, Chomp Chat was when they would like... I don't know where they were finding these people. They were put them in like a photo booth. I assume it was at like network affiliate events, and then they'd make them talk about their dogs. And I'm sure on one of the YouTube clips it'll come up. There's a woman who raps about her dog, and he's so smart he can drink from a cup. And he's so small and he's so short. He's a movie star and he works in New York. Go Pee Wee! Do you remember that? It was
no.
Anyway, I just nailed it, but it'll come up in future episodes.
Maybe we'll get some future bumper.
Basically, if you're watching the YouTube, there will be bumpers because it's edited like that. Okay, next episode.
Yeah, that's the end of that episode.
Very quick.
And so we get to the next episode.
Knot It Up.
No, we are back we're back at the houses.
It's called Knot It Up.
It's called Knot It Up.
Which, if you're a Challenge fan, you know this is the birth of Not So Fast. Which I also mentioned is John got eliminated twice. By Not So Fast.
Yeah.
You know who won Not So Fast twice?
No.
Nani.
Okay.
She won twice.
That's the Nani.
She's the only one to win Not So Fast twice.
Back to Endurance. So now we are... JD's back with us, and we're going to be...
And Brandon has an afro.
Brandon now has an afro.
A question that always comes up in these is, what's the mood? And I assume it's a producer asking them, because they'll always say, the mood at camp is blank. Just like how I walked into the backyard, and so that's just a point. I wrote that down. I forgot what Sabrina said the mood was, but I think they're all just like looking at the temple in the distance. It's foggy. It's
Yeah.
Catalina. It's cloudy.
Well, because they now know that the Samadhi has been given to a team. They're going to have a disadvantage, and that's going to be the elimination challenge that's going to determine who gets sent to temple.
And we don't know what temple is.
And we don't know what temple is at this point. They don't even know what the Samadhi, like, how it's going to interfere with them. They know they have it, but they don't know what it's going to be. So we get back down. This is now our elimination challenge.
Can you explain Knot It Up and your qualms with it?
Yes. So the teams arrive at the beach, and there is a piece of rope, and in the middle, there's a giant knot of knots. And the teams have to work together. They're tied and tethered to the ends of these ropes. They have to work together to get out of this knot and to straighten it all out.
Correct.
Now, the team that got the Samadhi, the orange team, has 2 additional knots, small knots, but there are 2 additional knots that they have to get through in order to get out of here. My biggest issue with this is, who tied all these knots, and are they, like, equally difficult?
Which is why Not So Fast is the correct evolution. If you know Not So Fast, the other team you're going up against ties your knots for you. So it's and then you have to untie those. So it's a dual purpose challenge. Can you tie good knots? Can you get out of knots? When I did this exact challenge on my endurance, starring Shane Landrum.
Shout out to Shane.
No, not
He's gonna see this.
He was with John A. in All Stars 5, which is crazy.
We know that.
Talking about the challenge again. I had it a combination of the 2. It was one rope, like knotted up.
Yeah.
And you were assigned a random, there's 5 teams left. You were assigned a random team to tie their knots. And then that team, and then whoever had to untie it first wins. Anyway, there was an infamous quote. Shane was partnered with Derek Holt. And as we know, Derek had a very long day. And there was a certain moment where Shane's untying the knot and Derek's holding the rope, like trying to like help like position the rope. And Shane's like, "Why aren't you untying, bitch?" And it has lived in my head forever.
Well, I mean, Shane's had some interactions with a number of us, including my mom at a kickball game, but we won't talk about that. So,
I also had interaction with Devon.
So the knotted up challenge goes through, and who's the team that wins?
Blue, absolutely.
They dominated this entire.
Red is close. You can see
they were close.
They keep putting the camera on red. Blue absolutely annihilated that.
Yeah, I mean, Janae, you could tell I get this. She has just a brain, and we've seen this play out in the challenge episodes. She gets it. She gets all of these challenges. She understands what the strategies are. So they get it, and now they have the responsibility. Not only did they just do the Samadhi and they pissed off the orange team, but now they have to decide who they're sending up, the 2 teams to send up to the temple. And they don't know, again, do not know what happens up there. So they're now having
a strength-based challenge.
Right, because everything to this point has been the teams having to compete against each other.
Jenna does have a confessional being like, I don't know if it's going to be mental or strength.
Yeah.
So at least there's maybe a conversation about it, but they're sending up teams. We'll confess sort of it.
Yeah.
They want green out.
Yes.
It's basically become a consensus that they're the dysfunctional team. Trevor's kind of ruining the vibe around camp. Poor Lana just is not happy, but sorry,
this is your partner, you need to make
and if Blue's trying to get the least blood on their hands, that's an easy thing.
Right.
Who do they send with them?
Well, so this is part of the conversation is because they're trying to determine okay, well, should we send a strong team to take them out, or should we send 2 weak teams, what have you? They end up deciding they're just going to go with Gray, which is Max and Jenna, which is probably arguably one of the stronger teams.
Mm-hmm. They won the partner thingy, and they have 2 pieces, and they're no slouch.
No.
And Max is very socially connected. You can tell. I consider Max very LA. He's very just
he's a little bit older, or at least he's taller than everybody else.
He's not, but he comes across as.
Yeah, and so it just definitely feels like they are a more mature, kind of strong.
On top of all of this, Sabrina's involved.
Yes.
Sabrina.
Well, because now all of the teams are trying to work with Janae to say, don't send us in, don't send us in. Same thing for Aaron as well.
Sabrina was not going to let Aaron send her or Red. And that puts Aaron in a tough position because it basically means orange, green, purple, or gray is just 50% of those teams.
Yeah.
And Sabrina was not going to let... I mean, I have in my notes not to be that guy. Allison Irwin who? Parvati who? Sabrina did the strategy before it was cool.
For sure.
And she's really good at it.
Yeah.
She got Aaron in a corner and said, and I quote, I'm not going to temple because Aaron said I wasn't. Like, she basically was like, you're not sending me to temple.
And this isn't one of those things where she's confident. She knows.
She's very Regina George.
She knows that that he's telling the truth.
Sabrina and Ashley is very Gretchen Wieners.
Yes, they are.
And Johnny is very Katie Heron.
Heron.
And Lana is totally... Well, okay, then if that were really that deep, then I would say Lana's actually Gretchen and Ashley's Karen. But Johnny is definitely Katie Heron, and Sabrina is definitely Regina George, a.k.a. Sabrina, a.k.a. Renee Rapp.
Okay, so, we've been going through this all afternoon. We are now making some decisions. JD brings everybody together, and we've got to reveal who's going to the temple.
And it's Green and Greg. It's very emotional. People are crying.
For sure. And this is one of those situations where...
People are being very passive-aggressive to Johnny.
Both teams could go... I mean, one of these teams is going to go home, so they are now having to pack up their stuff. People are crying. It is like...
Okay, and also, like, not to be dramatic, like, we know that their parents are, like, very close by. That's mandatory based on the child filming laws. Also, it's day 4.
I understand this, but these are teens in a heightened environment.
For, like, a trip, not for money. Anyway, I'm just trying to be a little more like, come on, guys, go to the program. But yes, you're right. So they send them up. Everyone's crying. Johnny feels very guilty. We already have her crying in bed, which will happen many more times this season. And since Sabrina, she's safe. She could literally do nothing the rest of the day. And what does she decide to do?
Oh, she's stirring the shit. I mean,
she says, she says so many things. First, I have my notes. First, Lana is crying about getting sent up. This is her good friend, relatively. Not her best friend, but her good friend. And Sabrina goes, why are you crying? It's just a game. Everyone's going to go sometime. Which is like...
not comforting at all. She's packing for things.
And then Trevor comes in, and she is basically like causing so much shit.
She's like, why aren't you mad at Johnny for sending you?
No. It was, aren't you Aaron's really good friend? Like, why did Aaron send you? He's your really good friend. Fully knowing that she's the reason. That she's why Aaron had to send his friends. Yeah. If she didn't get in Aaron's ear, the show would have been much worse. They would have sent Red and Yellow. I think Johnny was like not opposed to sending Red and Yellow.
The Brotherhood was targeting Red and Yellow, so it was probably going to happen.
It would have happened, and I think Aaron could have convinced Johnny to either do like Gray and Red, Gray and Yellow, some combination of it. Trevor's going because of you, Sabrina, and you know that. Yeah. And I'm saying this in a complimentary way. Like, this is how you play the game when you're that confident. Like, if I was there, I may have had like the deep suspicion to be that conniving. But I may have done it like in little ways. I would not have done it with that much confidence that often.
Sure,
I gotta commend it.
Well, we are now heading up to Temple Mount, the Temple of Fate.
The long walk to the
Temple of Fate, and JD says this is the most dreaded place on the island. And honestly,
on Catalina Island,
you don't ever see the sheep, but you do see the temple, and it is like quite impressive. Like, this is a large structure. They built this
with rocks.
And we finally get, to see exactly what they're going to be having to do to determine who's getting eliminated from this game.
Okay. It's basically rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
Wood, water, fire.
And he starts by saying that since the beginning of time, humans have needed 3 things. Water for sustenance, wood for shelter, and fire for warmth.
Correct. We'll get into the elements. I had to give you one of my issues with it. We'll get there. Obviously, water puts out fire. Obviously, fire burns wood. I'm sorry. I've never, we're talking 20 plus years of my life, have never been okay with wood floats on water. I mean, it's such a cop-out.
It does.
And then also, around the same time, Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I never watched.
No.
This is not my type of show. No offense to those people. But that was around the same time, and that's what? Earth, fire, water, air.
Sure.
Everyone was trying to be like, oh, it's just like Avatar. I'm like, no. These are like so different. Like, these are completely different worlds. And also, it made me think, maybe it should have just been air instead of wood.
And what were they going to do? Just like have
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We have to.
JD outlines exactly how this is going to go. Each team is going to have a rock of their color. They're going to write down their chosen element.
Yes.
Hand it to him.
It's basically rock, paper, scissors.
He throws it in the fire, and then he's going to say,
"Well, the dominant element, please rise now." He doesn't actually say this on season 1, but that's what he continues to say. Do the elements feel a certain way to you?
What do you mean?
Like, I see fire differently than I see water, differently than I see wood. To which I would say, like, fire is like the intense person to choose. They would choose that first. Water is like the normal choice. Like, I would always choose water first. That's just like where my brain goes.
Yeah.
And then wood is always a like extraneous choice.
That's quite a strategy.
I always also label them as fire is 1, water is 2, wood is 3. My brain has always just like worked that way.
I don't think I've ever thought about like which element I would have chosen first or what my strategy would have been.
In the Endurance Hawaii casting special, Eleanor plays the Temple of Fate with her cat. And she goes, I think that you think that, I think that you think that, I think that you think that I would choose fire, so I'm going to pick wood. Okay. Literally, I've said that so many times. And I'm so sorry, Eleanor, for listening. Like, I doubt that you expected anyone to say that again, but I'm sorry I've been saying it.
Well, we now are moving into this. The teams have their rocks. They write down their elements. The first one goes in, and green wins the first round.
Yeah.
And they only have to win 2 out of 3.
At this point, it's clear it's just a game of... Yeah. There is some strategy. Like, you have to, like, feel the elements, but it is luck.
And, like, Gray can tell, like, this is really shitty. JD says...
They're not doing anything.
You lose one more, you're going home. And they're like... And they lose one more, and they go home.
Gray goes home.
And it's not even just a regular elimination. I mean...
They're pissed.
They're very upset. They did not think they were going to be there.
We have to also forget, before they left, Max tried to give Johnny his hat kind of as like collateral, kind of as like, remember me if I'm gone. Johnny said, no, take your hat. Everyone's being very passive aggressive with Johnny. Like, Layla made a comment like before they chose, if you're going to send me, can you at least like give me my clothes back? Something like that. Everyone's being very, not sorry, I have to just mock Layla. The hat's on Max's head. We have 2 quick things to cover. How do they make the elements rise?
There's like 3 podiums where they're sitting on, and when JD asks them to rise, they like just go up. I swear someone is under there pushing them.
Because I'll fast forward. I've always thought there's someone under the table at Final Temple.
Yeah.
Flipping the stuff. So it probably is the same person.
It just feels that way. Like they didn't build
someone situation. If like Lily, who was a feature producer on Karma, or like she would know this stuff, or if anyone knows, like just tell us.
I need to know, but like the way it goes up, it feels like it's being just pushed.
I need to know.
And then once they're eliminated,
they disappear.
They walk to the center cauldron behind the fire, and they just go away. I mean, it's quite dramatic.
And as a child, I really was obsessed with that. I was obsessed with special effects growing up, and like I wanted them to happen to me. This sounds really weird.
Yeah,
I was like I was especially thinking about like superhero movies or like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, for example, when she turned into lava. I was like, I want to turn into lava too, but obviously I couldn't, and she also didn't. That was special effect. Also, like, sorry, I like really remember memories. Remember like the SpongeBob episode where they would like have humans in it randomly, like the pirate.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I always thought like that was like such an amazing experience for them, but it was just a green screen. Yeah. Just like this, all they did was just film them from the fire, and then put a fire, and then film them. Anyway,
well, Jordan was really impressed by that. But we now have our first eliminated team, and the closing scenes of this. It's now nighttime. They're sending them back to the beach. And so the teams are waiting around the fire to see who's going to come.
This is for all 6 seasons, one of the most dramatic returns.
Nobody expected it. Nobody.
That's probably why okay, you're right. Because in all future ones, there are some like exciting ones, and there's ones where like the right team or the wrong team comes back and people are excited or angry. But that's just based on chance. This was the first time that a team was coming back, and they were shocked.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a shocking elimination in future seasons, the teams sitting at the camp can't be shocked by who comes back.
Right.
Because it's 100% 50-50. They can't be, like, annoyed or angry or happy or sad. But, like, the shock value here only happens this one time.
Yeah. And that's how the episode ends.
What would you say if you were asked what happened at Temple and no one else knew?
I would probably say it was some type of a puzzle or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Only because like that like not only it's not a chance thing, it boosts your team in terms of like ability a little bit.
There also is some preparation involved. Like having a strategy before you go to temple,
Yeah.
we'll learn in future seasons how this can be used
For
against teams.
sure.
You can plan. It's
But
like,
knowing that this is going to be something we'll cover in the next episode because it becomes a huge issue. But like, you need to have a game plan when you have a secret, and we see this playing out on Survivor all the time
with idols and whatnot.
Yeah, like tell what happens when you went to that island
in real time. As we're sitting here, Eva just got saved through that power. Sorry, guys. I know it's what did I say? April 24th. I could care less about Survivor 48. I'm sorry. I liked it. It fell off after
It could still redeem itself. We don't know.
It fell off after the Say boot, which is kind of like, that's a cold take. It fell off after the Bianca boot. That was such a good episode. Bianca going shocked me. Anyway.
We digress.
We have to go to dinner.
Yeah.
But next episode is going to be good. It's another, the fallout of max elimination.
Yep.
Some more passive aggressive drama.
Yep.
A good endurance mission.
Yeah.
A quiz based temple mission that I also don't mind.
We also see Green Team not really learning much in terms of like how to build a strong team.
Yeah. I'm also going to say, guys, it gets better. Seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5, not 6. Seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5 are far less of a slog than this one is sometimes.
Yeah. That's the thing, is that
if it's your first time watching any season, this is totally good. If you're used to season 3, which is just like non-stop drama, gameplay, intensity.
Well, I think it's also just that reality television evolves. And this is we're still feeling out what works and what doesn't work in this.
We also, at one point, we'll talk about, this is just a preview for the future. We're going to talk about Flight 29 Down, talking about Sirius, we're talking about Darcy's Wildlife, all the shows that surrounded Endurance on this time block.
And with that,
follow us. I'm at jord.grant.
And I'm at BJ Rosenbaum.
And our socials for the pod are all at EndurancePod1 on Instagram and Twitter. And we should make a TikTok.
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, it's so easy. And also, I love software. I love AI. I hate to say it. I love AI.
You love special effects.
No,
you love software.
I really did not want to like AI, but I love AI. And the way that I literally can click a button and they're like, here are your 7 TikToks that we made from this 30-minute clip. I go, thank you. It's so easy.
Okay. We're not going to phone it in or let Grok decide our future efforts, but...
No. Also, we're going to clip more stuff for you all.
Yeah. So, again, remember, follow us on our socials. Send in questions, comments, stories, trivia, things that we need to cover that we aren't covering.
And if you are someone from Endurance and you're watching,
please reach out to us.
Please reach out to us. Like, I promise we are super chill.
Okay, maybe one of us is. And with that, we gotta go get tacos.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.